Morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night everyone. This is Peace of Life. Today I would like to talk about the foods I ate in South Korea. I just want to let you know there are a lot of different types of the food coming out in this video, but not all of them are the Korean food. Some of them are quite different kind of food as well. I just want to let you know. And furthermore, because of the time, most of them are going to like a slow motion of the videos or even very slower. And because of that, each part of the videos are going to be very short. And therefore, I might need to speak quite quickly. So please be aware of that. I'm apologizing for that inconvenience. Anyway, let's go. The first one is about Korean barbecue. So it is as you're well in a food shop or the restaurant, we can cook the meat by putting it on the barbecue directly, and we can cook it ourselves. Sometimes they help us to how to cook it, how to heat it as well, and therefore it is quite nice because there it's not just a meat, we also put some spice as well. And in barbecue there's also some noodles as well. Firstly, I will talk about cold noodles. It is just like a cold buttery noodles with a soup as well, which is quite cold. So I think some people might think complicated, why the hell are you eating the noodles that are cold? But that is what we are eating. There's also different types of the noodles which are cold, spicy noodles, I would probably say. And they are very similar, no water, but this time we just put some sauce in it, which is included some spice and the chili as well. So they are quite spicy but also sweet as well. In Korean we call it as naengmyeon. And furthermore, we also have another type of cold noodles, this time similar to the spicy noodles, but this time we add some raw fish as well. So for the noodles, in this case I would say naengmyeon, they are depending on how people are cooking and depending on how long does it take it to cook. So that could determine the taste as well. And furthermore, each area or territory has different type of naengmyeon, I would say. The next one I want to talk about is the dumpling soup. We call it mandukguk. It is basically the soup with a lot of dumplings, basically. So I'm pretty sure you will know the taste, so it's quite nice. And next thing I want to talk about is soft tofu stew. So we call it sundubujigae. So in this case, we put the soft tofu, which are made out of bean, and into the stew and cook it. So it could be spicy, but it is quite okay. Next one is stewed kimchi. And quite simple, to be honest, just a kimchi, but in that we stew it with some pork or chicken. It's depending on what you're using it. So we're not just using the kimchi, of course we add some meat or pork as well. Next one is blood pudding stew. It could be different because this one, unlike the other stews, some people love it, but some people hate it. So it's basically a stew that has a blood pudding. So in English, I'm pretty sure you had a black pudding that you make it like a very hard by soliding in the blood. It is quite similar, but this time we close the blood from the, I'm not sure if it's called, probably ox, and then we cook it with a stew. The next one we'll talk about is bulgogi. This is basically like a beef with some soy sauce and some other sauce as well, and we cook it together. So the taste is all, of course, very good, very nice, but of course if you put too much sauce, it could be very, very salty, so please be aware of that. Next one I want to talk about is pork cutlet. First one is, we call it hanbak tonkatsu. So hanbak pork cutlet, I'll probably say. It is quite similar to pork cutlet, but we add sauce and we just spread it around. So people normally love it, but some people who really like the crispy texture may not like it. And another one is pork cutlet, but this time we add cheese in it. So if you love cheese, it is going to be a good choice. Maybe not if you hate cheese. Next one I want to talk about is raw fish. There are different kind of raw fish, to be honest. And of course, they are not originally in Korea. This mainly originated in Japan, if I'm not sure if I'm correct. But raw fish is very nice as well. Although please be careful of the shop, because if the raw fish sometimes it could be good, but sometimes the quality could be not as good as it should be. So please be aware of that when you visit my country. Please try to find the correct good restaurants or good shops that are actually selling the good quality of the raw fish. And next one is spicy fish stew. We call it meontang. So basically this is where you're selling the raw fish as well. You can also use the remains of the fish into the stew and cook it with some spice. And although the spice are normally just chili, to be honest, so that we can eat it. And to be honest, because the fish can make the taste even better, so it's very nice. And next one I'm talking about is actually some Chinese food, to be honest. Although they probably originated in Incheon, which is located right next to the Seoul. So what I want to talk about is black sauce noodles and the hot spicy noodle soup. They're both nice. It's basically, one is noodles with the black sauce, obviously. The other one is you put it in the hot spicy soup and some seafood as well. Also, it's depending on some people, depending on the area as well. And with those noodles, of course, there is also sweet sour crispy pork. We call it tangsu. This is basically pork we fry it, and then after that we add some sauce which are made based on the sugar and some soy sauce as well. It's just like a mixture of them. So the texture could be quite weird. So therefore, some people prefer to not to pour the sauce onto the crispy pork. Instead, they prefer to dip rather than pouring it. We also all have the fried dumpling as well. Basically, simply it's dumpling that we fried. Next one, talk about soybean paste stew. Of course, most Korean people love it, to be honest. I also like it, but for some people, they do not like the smell of the soybean paste stew. I understand that, to be honest, because some people do not like it, because it could be like fermented, because the bean is fermented, that it makes some smell that some people may not like it. We also have the stir-fried rice cake. Basically, we use rice cake, pour some sauce in it, and fry it together. Depends on how you're cooking well, the taste is totally different. Next one I want to talk about is glazed pig's feet. We call it jokbal. So this is literally pig's feet, but we steam it if I might, and then there's a collagen and the pork meat itself as well. And of course, I cannot forget them. The fried chicken. There is original just a fried chicken. There's also Korean fried chicken, which we pour some sauce on it as well. Both of them taste really good, to be honest. They are the most famous type of the chickens that's selling in Korea. Although recently there's also another type of chicken. We call it soy chicken, because we pour some soy sauce onto it. Although it is not in my video, to be honest. I'm sorry for that. Then we also have banquet noodles. We call it chanchiguksu because in the past we ate it when we are eating them. We're normally in weddings or some special parties like banquet, I'll probably say. That's why we call it as chanchiguksu, which means banquet noodles in English. Then we have spicy sausage stew. We call it butter chicken, which basically means the army stew. The reason is because we cooked. It was originated when near the armies. Near the armies, they use the remains of the sausage and some hams into the stew, and somehow it tastes nice, and it continues throughout. And now it is selling like that. Next one is rice noodles. Although they are Vietnamese food, to be honest, let's be honest, it is also selling in South Korea, so I'm just speaking very quickly. And there is pork intestines, and in there are different types of pork intestine. Some people put on cheese or some, how to say that, cheese or onions on it. Some people like to put some spicy sauce inside. It's depending on what you prefer to eat it. And then there's the rolled meat as well. Yeah, some people say, how can you eat the meat raw? But sometimes Sometimes some people eat the raw meat as well. Sometimes some people even pour the raw egg onto it as well. And then finally we have the green tea ice cream. Yes, they're maybe based on green tea, and we use the green teas to make ice cream sometimes. There's also fish cake as well. They're literally just using this fish to make the cake basically. That doesn't mean it's cake. It's just the name is fish cake. And there's a honey oat toffee as well. We call it daeguna in Korean. It is basically like a cooking with the sugars, melting it and put some soda in it and just cook and making it this toffee. And finally for the drinks, I want to say there are two types. One is sujeongwa. To be honest, I'm not sure what is this drink. Some people really love to drink it, but some people, especially young age people, do not like to drink it. And then finally, the last one is soup. It is basically the one that you use rice, probably fermented rice. Then there's a drink. The taste is very nice, although some people do not like the remains of the rice in the drink. So that's the end of today's video. Thank you for watching today's video. I'm sorry for speaking quite quickly and quite not clearly. I'm sorry for that. Thank you for watching today's video. Please subscribe my channel if it's possible, and please also comment any problem on this video, and please finally also comment any ideas you have for next videos. I'll return with the next video in probably 4 days because sorry for the delay. See you next time. Bye.